In order to really have what it is that you want, if you have been trying for several years, months, weeks, and it's not really appearing as if you're going to achieve what it is, then it may be that you get to re-envision. And by re-envision, I don't mean that you necessarily change or lower your goal. It may be about re-envisioning who you get to show up as in order for that goal to be achieved. When I work with high achieving, A-type, ambitious women, sometimes when we start working together and they tell me what their goals are, I find that depending on the area of their life, their goal may actually be a goal where they are playing small. I remember when a client came in and she had two goals. One goal was to be in a loving relationship, and the other goal was to make basically $200,000 a year as an entrepreneur. I instinctively knew that that goal of $200,000 a year was her version of playing small. Lo and behold, because we did the work, and I'll tell you those steps in a minute, in the first quarter of the year, she made $120,000 and is now on track for half a year where she'll be have made even more than she ever made in her corporate job where she had been for years. In addition to that, she has found love. People tell her, you look so relaxed. And what is beautiful is that even looking and feeling so relaxed, even having been able to find the space, create the space to connect meaningfully with a man who loves her, who would love for them to have a relationship that lasts, lasts, and lasts, where there is no question of commitment, who's fully committed to who she is and to being with her. She's found time for this. She's been able to create almost her goal, her annual goal, and she's still able to relax. How does this happen? This is the Rekindle method. The Rekindle method is extremely focused on supporting you as a woman re-envision your life. So you stop playing small and you start stepping out, stepping up, showing up in your authentic greatness. But we don't stop there. Just as if you had a garden and the garden wasn't a mess. It was weedy, there was junk everywhere, etc., etc. You don't start by just having everything back exactly as you want it. The first thing that you want before you start planting or even designing is to clear the space. That's the weeding, that's the decluttering, that's having a clean palette. And this is where we basically weed those emotions, those beliefs, those thoughts that are strangling your dreams, that are strangling your true, magnificent essence. Imagine those creepers going up the trees and trying to pull them down. Shame, blame, guilt, this idea that everything is on your shoulders, lack of worthiness, those are the weeds. And when we have moved out of the way that which is not supporting you, when we've identified it and shifted it, and we step into relaxing, allowing the soil rest, allowing the soil rejuvenate. You, my dear, are the soil. You are the soil on which that garden will be planted. And if your soil is clear of weeds and rested, then that which you plant will bloom with minimum effort. If, however, it's totally congested with weeds and basically has had no time to rejuvenate, regenerate, and to rest, then even if you pour so many seeds on it, aka effort, then that will struggle to thrive. And this is why when I say When you hear the feminine way, with less, you can achieve more. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And when you have mastered this, we move into the reconnection phase. When you're rested, you're not in fight or flight. You step into more awareness of who you are, what you want. You may not want a garden of roses. You may not want a garden of lilies. You may want a garden of anthuriums. You may even want a herb garden. You may want just grass and some hedges. You may want an orchard. It depends on you. And it is so essential to reconnect with your true essence so that what it is that you are striving for, investing time and energy in, is in alignment with your true desires. And when you have then reconnected with yourself, when you're walking to the beat of your own heart, as opposed to chasing and trying to people please and just satisfy other people's desires, this is where we step into the re envisioning phase. The re envisioning phase of, there was a time I was living my life by default. There was a time I was living my life based on what other people expected of me. And now, what I truly want is this. There was a time I thought I could only make so much, or I thought I could only have this level of relationship, that I thought I had to settle for this kind of man in my life, for example. Now you're free from other people's expectations. You're free from your old limiting beliefs. You're free from the old negative, down pulling emotions and thought patterns to soar and see things from a new, empowered perspective. This is where you understand that if you can see it, then it is possible for this to become a reality in your life. And after re envisioning, the idea is not that you wait until every single desire that you have, every single milestone that you have has been ticked off or achieved in order to feel joy, gratitude, contentment, happiness. The idea is that you understand that joy is your buddy, joy is your best friend, joy is your accomplice at each step of the way. In fact, you do not wait for things to happen exactly as you wanted them to happen at the time that you wanted them to happen for you to say, ooh, I'm contented. I feel joy. I'm grateful. You feel the joy already now in the knowing that it is done. And because you're such a great match, frequency wise, with your desire, they accelerate for you. It may not accelerate for everyone else, but how could it? The laws are perfect. If you are on the same frequency as your desire, there is a match. If, however, you desire all day long, or you work all day long, and you are not on the vibrational frequency of that which you desire, there is no match. The feminine is not about the working harder. It's not about the wanting and thinking, oh dear, and the worry. It's about the understanding that life is really a function of two things. One, what is the action? Because there is such a thing as inspired action that you're prepared to take. And this is multiplied by your state and your frequency. And note that I said multiplied, not added. And so if you take massive action and your frequency is completely off, you're not really going to get anything. If your frequency is amazing, you take no action, you don't get anything either. Which is why the rejoicing phase is your ally when it comes to this process, because it will multiply the efforts that you have made. And when you learn to rejoice, and you learn to do this even before you see the physical proof of that which you desire, we step into receiving. Receiving is allowing that which you have envisioned to truly show up in your physical reality. And there are barriers to this. Many high achieving women have this ease with giving, ease with doing for other people, and are very uncomfortable when it comes to receiving. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I getting this? Why is this person giving this to me? Have you gotten suspicious when somebody just paid you a compliment because they were nice? Do you feel uncomfortable when somebody gives you something, feeling that, ooh, I need to then pay this back? I am beholden to them. Do you even feel guilty when you receive money and it doesn't feel like you spend a lot of time or effort? In other words, do you feel guilty receiving abundantly for your natural gifts and talents? Do you have to work really hard and work many hours in order for you to feel that you deserve to receive money? If any of these is true, then you definitely have some receiving blocks and you are not alone. And what I really want to invite you to do is to look at the steps I've described and ask yourself, which of these do I find difficult? It may be one, it may be all. Either way, there's no shame, there's no blame, there is no guilt. The most important thing, and where we all start in any transformational process, is to see it. Once we see it, the next step is to accept, aka surrender. And surrender does not mean that we say there's nothing that can be done about it. It means we stop the resistance with what is. And once we accept it, we can then shift into intending what we want. So my garden, I have now seen that I have some issues. Right. Am I going to weed it? Great. And when I do so, what do I want after that? And then the action. When action is followed by clear intention, which is followed by a reduction or elimination of resistance, and you can see clearly, that is definitely a huge part in the work called transformation. But there is a last element to this. Even when we shift and we really get it at a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level, if we do not continue on that path, then those old weeds are going to grow. And so what you must do is you must then ensure that you are in an environment, ensure that you are in a community, ensure that you have a space where you can continue to be supported so you can then stay in the transformed space. I would love to know what it was that stood out to you today. I would love to know which of those steps you find the most challenging. As high achieving women, it's so important that we understand that our superpower comes from us being able to rekindle the phenomenal feminine. And when you rekindle that phenomenal feminine, you begin to see miracles in your life. And the more you give gratitude for the small little miracles, the bigger and bigger and bigger they appear for you. And this is why you may be living a life where love is easy, where money's flowing to you, where clients are coming out of nowhere, and everyone else may be complaining and saying, oh, how tough things are. Yes, because you have tuned in and tapped into your feminine power source, and you've learned to be a master at receiving, rejoicing, re-envisioning, reconnecting, relaxing, and releasing. I want to hear what showed up for you, what you realize, what breakthrough has come up. It's important that we do this work, and definitely get in touch if this is something you'd love to know more about. Love and light. Take care.